There are two kinds of people in Russia right now. If you look into Russia media space, you will see that some Russians, usually propagandists, experts, bloggers, vloggers, public people, saying that Russian economy is doing strong. It has survived the hit that it had received in the last 8 months. And the second group is regular people, giving interviews, just having regular opinions, same opinion that Russia is doing mighty well economically. Russian economy has survived and going strong. With the first category of people, I understand everything. They are paid to say what they say. They know exactly what is going on with the Russian economy, but it's their job to say otherwise. I just don't do anything. I don't say anything. They basically sold out their souls. The second category of people, they are sincere. They sincerely believe that Russian economy is going strong. This puzzles me very, very much for one simple reason. It is unbelievably easy to get true information, to learn about the current state of economy, Russian economy, and for any economy for that matter. In Russia, the document, official government document that pretty much sums up the economy, how it's doing, is called Russian Federation's budget, federal budget. And I'm going to be telling you a little bit about Russia's budget for the year of 2023. And basically, it tells us the true story of Russian economic standing. Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Inside Russia. My name is Konstantin, streaming live, giving you updates on Russia, my opinions, and things that you don't hear on TV. I'm going to be talking about Russian budget and, as part of Russian budget, increased spendings for Russian military. Like I said, it's really easy to find out how Russian economy, or any other economy for that matter, is doing. All you have to do is to look at the budget. At first, a few lessons, very simple, very short lessons about the budget. What is budget in the first place, okay? I would like to answer 4 questions, and they are: what is Russian federal budget? What does the Russian federal budget do? Who is in charge of the budget? Who creates budget? And who spends the budget? Very basic questions, and my answers will give you the general understanding of what I am talking about. Question number 1. What is Russia's federal budget? Well, the budget is the form of creating and spending money to achieve goals and proper functions of the state, of Russian state, of the government. In simple words, it's a document that defines how much money to be made by the state and how much money and where to be spent. Second question, what does Russian budget do? Russian budget accumulates money from different sources and send money to be spent by government bodies, of local bodies and federal bodies. In simple words, Russian budget is a centralized fund, monetary fund, that is owned and operated by Russian federal government. And the next question comes from this question. Who is in charge? Who is in charge of that fund? Well, and how is this fund created, okay? Where does money come from and where they go to? Russian federal budget is created by two federal government institutions, two ministries. First is Ministry of Finance and second is Ministry of Economic Development. They draft the document, the budget, and submit it to State Senate, Russian Duma, Russian State Duma. Usually it's done by middle of September, sometimes later, by the end of September. Russian Duma, Russian Senate, has 3 hearings discussing the budget. First, the hearing is about major things. Second hearing is about detailed things. And the third hearing discussing even more detailed things, small spendings. They usually agree or disagree, increase funding, decrease funding, cut spendings. They just finalize the budget. After 3 hearings, Russian Duma must approve the budget and send it to the higher house of Parliament, Russian Senate, Federation Union. The Federation Union also reviews and approves and sends it to none other than Vlad himself. The president of Russia gets the approved budget by all houses and looks at it, signs or sends it back if he disagrees with few things or many things. He usually signs it, and voila, budget is created. Who spends the budget? Where does the money go to? Well, first of all, where they come from and where they go to. They come from bottom to the top, and they go back from the top to the bottom. That's how Russia works. This is hugely, hugely important. Everything that local governments, province governments make in taxes, in licenses, in personal taxes, in corporate taxes, everything is sent up to the fund, that is in Moscow. And Moscow people decide how much to give back to the local governments for their needs, for their spendings, for everything. How much to give to pay to the teachers, to doctors, how much money to allocate to build new roads, to maintain roads, and so forth. You see, all money is given to the top, decided on the top, and given to the bottom. That's unusual, but that's how it works. It's called centralized budgeting. Where does money come from? I told you, the taxes, licenses, corporate, from companies' pockets, from people's pockets, and from sales of natural resources. Basically, these are 3 major revenue sources. And who spends the money? Where does the budget money go to? Well, everyone spends budget money. Russia is run on the budget money. All teachers, all doctors, all police officers, all soldiers, all KGB agents receive funding from the government. The roads are built by the government, financed by the government. All infrastructure is financed by the government. All military spending is financed by the government. Everything. Everything that is spent here in Russia most likely comes from the government, from the budget. That's why Russian budget is hugely important in understanding the situation in the country. It's like the spine of the country. That's it. I'm done. Now let's move into what is actually happening right now. Today, October 31st. Right now, The first stage has been done for the budget of 2023. Russian Senate did 3 hearings and approved the budget for next year. Now it's in the Federation Union, but there will be no problem. They will approve it, and the president will approve it as well. The draft was made by September 26, I believe, and it took about a month to approve, which is kind of normal situation, despite all this craziness that is happening in the country right now. Russian budget usually is fairly transparent. There is international organization that's called Budget Partnership, International Budget Partnership, and it has reviewed budgets of 100 countries, and Russian budget was on had a spot number 15. Not the best, but you know what? Far from the worst. This score says that the budget is fairly transparent and you can see all the spendings. That's why I don't understand why Russians who are talking about the economy have no clue. It's so easy to pick up budget and look what's going to happen next year, what happened this year, and so forth, you know. You don't even have to be an economist for that. That's just common sense. So Russian transparency, Russia is 15th on transparency list, but it's gonna go down because, well, I'll let you know in a few minutes. Now, let's take a look at the budget of Russian Federation, the fresh one. And before I get into the details, and I simply will give you some of the details, you know, before that, there are a few questions I would like to ask. I would like to get answers that kind of explain the state of said affairs of Russian budget of 2023. They're very important questions. First, and to the budget, it's the biggest and the worst question, you know, the most uncomfortable question. In 2022, due to its actions in the world, Russia has lost most of revenues from sales of oil, natural gas, minerals, metals, and fertilizers. One simple reason: the countries have decided to stop buying Russian natural gas and oil. On top of that, Russian pipelines of natural gas have been blown up. That's it. We will not be selling gas. It's not allowed by European laws and by the sanctions. And physically, you know, the pipelines have been blown. China and India are decreasing their buyings from Russia of natural gas and oil, and the amount of discounts they're receiving right now is atrocious, up to 50%. So not much of revenues coming from those two countries. And then we don't really have any major buyers other than Europe, you know, the United States for oil, and India and China. Everything else is peanuts. So Russia has lost about half of its revenue for the next year, for the next, you know, fiscal year, for the next year of budget. How Russian government is going to make up for the losses of sale of oil and natural gas? What sources will be used to make up those revenues that have been lost? I would love to get the answer for that. Well, I'm going to give you the answer in just a little bit. Question number 2. What sources are going to be used to finance that tragedy, atrociousness that Russia is doing to Ukraine? What sources are going to finance military actions that Russia has been conducting for the most of 2022? Where does money come from? Third question. Russia recently annexed a large part of Ukraine, 4 provinces. Those provinces have been, how do I say it mildly, very, very severely damaged in terms of infrastructure. Well, pretty much most of things that humans built with their own hands have been destroyed or damaged. Okay. Now, Russian politicians have recently said numerous times that Russia is going to rebuild the newly joined or annexed, they're annexed, but in Russia they call the newly joined territories. I wonder, when they say that, do they understand what they're talking about? Do I understand the scale of new construction that is needed? Do they understand how much that construction costs? Well, they must understand, the public figures. If you say something, you got to be responsible for that. So I assume they understand. I assume they know very well. So my question is, what sources all that rebuilding of the land grab that happened recently is going to be financed from? What sources? Where will money come from? The fourth question. How about the lost revenues, tax revenues of the companies, foreign and domestic companies that have left Russia or closed? How those lost tax revenues are going to be replaced by who and where from? Where will the money come from? Another question. About 1 million people have left, males have left in the recent month. They quit their jobs. They abandoned their businesses, small businesses, medium-sized businesses. They relocated to different countries. That's a huge blow to the economy. Huge, huge, huge. How that lost revenue, lost taxes, how is it going to be replaced? By who? That's another question. So basically, these are 5 biggest questions I would like to hear the answers from. Well, I'm going to give you the answers very soon myself. It's actually very easy. Now, moving to the budget that has been approved, there are a few interesting facts about the budget of 2023 in Russia. For the first time in recent history, in quite a few years, Russia will be running a deficit budget, meaning Russia will spend more than it will make. The deficit in 2023 is predicted to be 2.93 trillion rubles, or 2% of GDP. And you know what? That's large. That's a huge, huge drop in the economy. This is just a prediction. That's what's been approved. The real numbers will be known in the beginning of 2024. And I predict that the deficit will be much higher. In 2023, the revenues of Russian federal budget are going to drop down by 5.6% from the previous year, 2022. Again, that's a projection, and I think that this is a very, very mild scenario, the best case scenario, so to speak, I predict that the drop of revenues will be much more than 5.6%. We will see in the beginning of 2024. That's how this budgeting here works. Now it's just the planned facts, numbers, and then the real ones we will see at the end of at the beginning of a year after the next one. So, moving on. In 2023, there will be a very significant tax hike in all areas. Personal income tax hike, corporate income tax hike, some mining companies, some industry-wise tax hikes, such as coal mining industry, and some other ones. There will be an increase, a huge increase in spendings for so-called defense and security, national security. Well, when I hear that, I laugh, because what kind of defense are we talking about? Are we defending from someone right now? No. Are we defending really? Or we perhaps doing an offensive? Well, Vladimir Putin told us on the 24th of February that we're attacking Ukraine. Now it's called defense spendings. Attacking defense, you see. That's a new talk that I talked about, quite some time ago in one of the streams. This is the new talk. Offensive is called defensive now. But anyway, there's a huge increase in defense and security. Now, this part of budget will be more than 9 trillion rubles, or 32% of the entire Russian budget, meaning that every third ruble spent in Russia will be spent for the purpose of national security and so-called defense. Basically, financing of the special military operation, how it's called in Russia. So, financing army, financing soldiers, payments to the soldiers' families of the soldiers that killed in action or not in action, I don't know, everything. There is a very interesting fact about this part of the budget spending for defense and security and national security. Remember I told you that Russian budget is actually fairly transparent, meaning that we taxpayers, we knew where our dollars were going to. But this year has been an incredible hike in so-called secret articles of the budget, or closed for public eyes. Well, of course, these are spendings for military, for some kind of industries within military industrial complex, but they're not telling us what kind of spendings they are. In 2022, they were 3.78 trillion rubles that were secret. And in 2023, 6.58 trillion rubles. Almost double, okay? And it's a 22.6% increase from last year. And now, out of 9 trillion rubles, 6.58 will be secret. So every 2 rubles out of 3, we don't know what they're gonna be spent for. Lovely. Russia's top politicians have actually criticized the budget incredibly. And I'm going to give you examples now. One of the top politicians, Gennady Zyuganov, said that this budget in 2023 is detached from benefiting citizens. For example, medical care and pharmaceutical industry are being liquidated within this budget. There will be very few spendings for that. Senate's Committee for Taxation also criticized this budget. He came up with the data that there used to be 13 provinces with deficit budgets, meaning they spent more than they made, in 2022. Now that number increased to 23, almost doubling, meaning 23 provinces spend more than they make. Therefore, they not only give in the surplus to Moscow, to the federal budget, but they're demanding federal budget covering their deficit, which is majorly not good. There are massive cuts. Remember I told you that I'm going to answer some of the questions. How is that the revenues of Russian budget are dropping, but the spending going up? Money is going to come from somewhere. And if it's just a little drop and it's just a little increase in spending, the deficit, a little one, hey, it's not a problem. Look at the United States. It's been running huge budget deficit for years. But the thing is, the drop in revenues and the increase in spendings this year in Russia the coming year in 2023 is going to be enormous. Enormous. We've lost a huge deal of income and we've gained a huge deal of expenditures. So where does money come from? There are two sources, really. That's it. Since Russia cannot sell any oil, any natural gas, any resources to outside world, Russian government has two choices. It's going to take its greasy hand and it's going to reach very deep down to our pockets in terms of more fees, more licenses, more taxes, personal taxes, stricter fiscal policy. And it's going to take its hand and put in the pockets of businesses, companies, small, large, medium corporations. And this is where it's going to look for money in our pockets. But you know what? Surprise, surprise. We don't really have much money left in our pockets, So they're definitely not going to make up that huge deficit that they're going to be running with whatever the extra they will find in our pockets, This, my friends, is collapse. Huge landslide. And looking at the budget of 2023, it's visible. It's right there, Any economist can tell you what is going to happen is not going to be good in my country in the next year. And I'm not even talking about 24th, 25th, and so forth. Those most likely will be even worse. Therefore, when you hear people from TV, on internet, bloggers telling you that Russia is doing not bad, Russia's ruble is going strong, despite its strengthened artificially, but hey, it's doing strong, It's stronger than before the start of this tragedy. Then Russian stores are open and so forth. Well, my friends, you take this official document called Russian budget and shove it up their throats and start laughing, and you tell them that I let you do that. Thank you so much for listening to my message. I hope it's been valuable and informative for you. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think. I will turn on the comments now. Thank you. And the comments are on. Oops. Hopefully you could hear and see me well while I was doing the stream. Not seeing any comments, so there you go. Let me tell you, it's been a fairly tough topic to deliver. It requires specific knowledge and quite a bit of research. I follow Russian budget, obviously. It's one of the major things that are available for us to see and to judge the state of the economy. But still, I did quite a bit of research for this. Dirk, Lorna, Mommy, Kyle, Karmts, Samsa, Joy, Henrik, Dale, Black Cat, Amir, Harry, Bob S, Howdy, Viking, Camera Makers, Lena, Frank in Texas, Ferrari Guy, Airborne Snail, Wild Wolfpack. Howdy, friends, the usual suspects, great to see you. As usual, if you want me to notice your message or question, please put it in caps and put Inside Russia after @ so I can see it appear in large orange box. Thank you so much. Jonas Sandal, thank you. You think Russian conscripts will be sent to the new regions? Joanne, I'm sorry. John. Who am I to answer this question? Vladimir Putin yesterday announced, it's either Vladimir Putin or Minister of Defense Sergei Shoigu, one of them announced that the conscripts will not be sent to the new regions. But you know what? That's what they sent. The Vladimir Putin told us on March 8th and March 9th. His Ministry of Defense announced it was a lie, what he said the previous day, that conscripts were fighting. So, I don't know. Gregory, thank you. Russia is cut off from international bond market so they can do sprint rubles. That is not a good path. And they will be keeping it for the very last option. Because once you start printing money, your inflation is going up. And no matter, like, people's living standard drops tremendously, okay? Russian budget already shows us, it's like a flashlight in the future economically. It shows that so many people will be cut from their jobs. Look, there are massive cuts expected for medical care, for utilities, city habitat, for digitalization of economy, for ecology and environment, for small and medium business support, for hospitality, for renovation upgrade of transportation infrastructure, okay? That means jobs lost. That means people will have less money. They will make less money. They will have less money to spend. They won't spend as much, and businesses will go. It's like a vicious circle. That's how economy works. Okay, and the government is not going to print more money because it's going to make things worse. It's like the weapon of last resort, so to speak. So I think that's not going to happen soon. Perhaps to the end of the year 2023, but we're not going to see it anytime soon. I don't think they're stupid. That's stupid. Karen Hackney, I wish you could replace Putin. The world would be a much safer place. Love and peace to all. What can I say? Thank you. Thank you. I'm not going to comment this, but please read between the lines. Lionel Slade, thank you. Howdy, howdy inside Russia. But will this budget get Russia people angry? Nope. Angry enough to dislodge the current regime? Great message is always, thank you. No, it will not make them angry. Please put my words down. Perhaps a complex issue, like many things that come into once, will trigger some change. But budget cuts alone will not do that. How do I know? Very simple. I've seen people giving their sons to the mobilization people, okay? Crying, both fathers and mothers, crying, giving them warm clothing, saying, oh my God, there's a chance that they're gonna come back, that their own kids. If that doesn't make them angry, then economy will not make them angry, okay? I don't know what will. Thank you so much for your support, but sorry about, my message is the truth. That's what I think. Not truth. My message is my sincere opinion. I don't want to get your hopes high, but I'm just telling you what I think. Agnes, thank you so much from Czech Republic. Rich Gross. With your expertise in power generation, do you have any insight into what it will take for Ukraine to rebuild infrastructure? Well, I was building Ukraine infrastructure. I know what it's going to take. We owned a plant in Ukraine back in the days of 15 years ago, particularly as they run low on spare equipment. I know exactly how they can rebuild. I know who is going to rebuild them, okay? It's not going to take that long because the amount of resources Ukraine will get when this is over is going to be incredible. All European companies, American companies will flock to Ukraine to start rebuilding it. Believe me, it's going to be brand new, brand spanking new, very advanced, very cutting edge in 18-24 months after everything is done. But the Ukrainians will be getting heat and electricity very soon after. As soon as basically, they're stopped being bombed, they will get electricity supply and water supply and so forth. And then everything will be being rebuilt by foreign companies. Energy facility construction world is a very small. It's, there aren't a huge number of companies. There are very few major players. Siemens, GE, Mitsubishi, couple Chinese companies, couple Doosan, couple Korean companies. That's it. The majors. And then there are local partners, large engineering companies. But the thing is, we know who's going to do it. Judith Moody, happy to support you. Thank you so much, Judith. I am very happy to have you as a supporter, and I'm happy to deliver my messages. Greetings from Colorado. Dale. Howdy Paula. Howdy Donna. Beverly Hills. Remember in caps. It's really hard for me to read that everything is not in caps. Black Cat, thank you so much, my friend. Hello from North Carolina, USA, Norway. Koshkin Dom. Bob S. Howdy, howdy. Pinda. Howdy from Rotterdam. North Nevada. Janice, are you near Area 51? Kate Hodgson, howdy from Maine. Great to see Maina here. Ferrari guy, I worry that Ukraine will be as demographically bombed as Russia is making Ukraine investment unattractive, despite the need to rebuild. Not enough people. That is a well, not a possibility. That's a fact. That will be demographically bombed. But the thing is, the rebuilding of Ukraine, in my eyes, will not be like an attractive investment, but it will be something that needs to be done. And I think lots of countries will be supporting Ukraine with money for that. Okay, so it's not about the investments. It's about the support, international community support. Black Cat, thank you again. Inside Russia from Zeus. Could the security chapter in the budget mean money for police rather than army? Very well. Well, it's going to be both. Police and army and Rosguardia and everything else. So that's national security. But defense is army. It's called defense and national security. So there are like two kinds of budget for that. I think police budget is open because 2/3 are closed and 1/3 is open. So police at least partially is open. Thank you. Good question, by the way. Luke King, thank you so much. Amazing how quickly Russia is being turned into North Korea. My friend, I'm sitting here and I can't believe it's happening in front of my eyes in a matter of days, weeks, you know. What's happening inside of me is really hard to tell. Do you think there will be massive nationalization of businesses and move to planned economy in Russia? Yes, they've been talking about this. They've been talking about, well, first of all, they already have created a law that allows to nationalize assets of international companies that have left Russia. Now, just today, there's a talk in State Duma about creating engineering companies with forced labor, meaning you cannot say no to them, okay? It's not defined in what form, but they started talking. In Russia, we say there is no smoke without fire, so the fire is there. So, Luke, absolutely. Thank you so much for your support again. Stat musician, long time no see. Howdy, howdy. Usual suspect and a serial super chatter. Great to have you back. Thank you for the informative stream. I hope this means Europe is one step closer to peace. I hope so. I hope, I pray. I don't know else what to say. Garnet Ring, thank you so much for your support. No message, but $20 is a very powerful message. Thank you. And Devin33, thanks for the support. No message as well. Moving to the questions. Panda, what else has Russia to sell to China or other buyers to get money for the budget? Not much. Not much. Wood, but this is like illegal sales. Border near the Chinese border deals between the locals going on. So land, one of the things that Russia can do is to lease its land to China for like 100 years. But it's a very unpopular decision and Russians not going to take it easy. Otherwise, I don't know. Blackad has given gift of 5 sponsorships. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. Please come, everyone. By the way, I received a very, very nice letter from one of the people who received a gift of sponsorship. He was very thankful and grateful, you know. So I appreciate everyone who grants sponsorships to the others. Tom, can you explain on how to rebuild energy grid again? What steps, what parts, where? Thank you, you're great. Thank you, Tom. Well, how to rebuild energy grid? You're gonna have engineering, you're gonna have turnkey construction, and you're gonna have like people who actually do that, and you're gonna have equipment. That's very easy. To rebuild transmission distribution is very easy and very fast. To rebuild power generation takes much longer, and it's much more complicated, much more expensive projects. For example, 150 megawatt station, gas-fired, usually 3.5 to 4.5 year construction project. So you start doing it. I mean, you design engineering design centers, then you start contracting all the equipment, and the companies who construct, they come in and they start the project. I mean, how else I explain? I don't know. Tom Mellon, thank you so much for huge support. You are the smoke who flags their fire. Your stream is extremely insightful for us. Keep it up. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for very inspirational words. I appreciate both. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Damian De Silva, thank you. Perhaps the oligarchs who stand to lose 30 billion in asset internationally and no way to replace it, coupled with a budget, may be the tipping point. Doubt it. I really doubt it. The oligarchs, easy come, easy go. They are oligarchs because the government allowed them to be oligarchs. So if the government steps back and says, "Hey, we're taking the money back," whatever, they're not gonna revolt, so to speak. Lars Henrik, howdy, and thank you so much. 5 people are new sponsors due to your support. Thank you very much. I appreciate from me, and thank you from 5 people. Emporium, etc. Welcome to Inside Russia, new sponsor. Donna Olson, great to see you, Donna. Thank $20. I'm in and out of your live streams lately due to having listened while at work, so haven't been able to comment, but I support your messages. I do. Donna, thank you so much. I wanted to ask you, how's your Mercedes going? Running, driving? And also yesterday I missed Dirk's super chat, so they just go quickly sometimes. I'm sorry, and I would like to acknowledge Dirk. Thank you so much. Jana Stenberg, when do you think it's Russians' time to freeze in winter time, as the gas surely is going to cost a lot more in Russia too? Russians will not freeze. I've said it before. It's crazy situation, We're being pumped so much about this propaganda that, Europeans will freeze. Once it starts getting cold, they will crawl on their knees and they will ask us to turn the gas back on. You know what? More than half of Russian population have not ever had access to natural gas. They use coal and woods. Somehow, winters are much harsher in Russia, and somehow they don't freeze. Why Europeans should freeze? I don't get it. It's crazy. Again, Russians don't think. If they thought just a little bit, they would start asking questions. How about our people who don't have access to, like so many people in Rostov, in a huge city, don't have access to gas, natural gas, okay? Some even don't even have access to canalization. What is this? Plumbing, Yet, they go and brag, Europeans will freeze. It just doesn't make any freaking sense, Thank you so much. I think Russians will freeze first, yeah. Liat Ether. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. No message, but this is pretty powerful message. Sus from Czech Republic. Do you believe that security reasons will not prevent Ukraine to allow Russian companies doing the rebuild? Wait a second. Do you believe that security reasons will not prevent Ukraine? If I understood the question correctly, I think that Ukrainians will never, ever want to do with the Russians or Russian companies. The everything they just want is to Russia stay away from Ukraine. I believe that's what their desire. They just want to distance from Russia as much as I think after it's done, they're gonna build like a huge wall 100 feet high along all the Russian border, unfortunately. Rene Kalusia. Just keep in mind that we're one beautiful family in the center of the whole universe on a non-rotating flat Earth. Thank you. I will not forget that. Yeah. I hope that's a joke about flat Earth. Hey, I'm talking about Russian budget. Complicated things, to believe in flat Earth. Rich Gross. Gross, I think. Gross. I'm really bad with the names, A Russian friend of mine told me that the budget now has more for internal security than defense spending. Is Russia really paying that much extra to protect itself from protesting citizens? Yes. And your friend is most likely not correct because we don't know how much exactly, because over 6 trillion rubles is secret. Not for our eyes to know, not for us to know. Okay, so we don't know how much of those money go to defense or national security. But I can tell you that they've increased a great deal spendings to KGB, pay increases to police, to Rosguardia, all the power block agencies. So in that, your friend is correct. SD, thank you so much, SD has given K gift of 50% of tonight's 1 billion US Powerball ticket. What's that? Has given K gift of 50% of tonight's 1 billion Powerball ticket. Okay. Powerball 17. So it means that if you win, we split it 50-50, right? All proceeds must assist Ukrainian refugees. Hey, you know what? I agree. Let's do it. Let's win. Hey, let's pray for us to win. I promise that I will not take one single dollar of that money, and we'll just go and build something, or whatever you want. It's up to your up to your decision. But the deal is the deal. David Sharpie or Sharp, 5 pounds. Hi K, hope you're well. Thank you. What are your thoughts on 600 billion of frozen Russian funds in the West being used towards the rebuild of Ukraine? Fair or not? I don't think it's 600 billion, first of all. I think it's 330 billion. In Russia, they are irate about that. Let me put it in the safest way possible. Let's say that there's a situation between two countries, just like between Russia and Ukraine. One country attacks another one and does all these things. And that country has a reserve fund someplace, and then it gets frozen. I think it's absolutely fair. That's my opinion. And I think it should be used for the good cause. I'm not keeping up with super chats. I'm sorry. John Sandal, thank you so much again. What would make people protest if not mobilization and so on does not do anything? I'm trying to answer the question myself. I think lack of food, shortages, they will have a stronger effect. But let me assure you, there will be no shortages of food in Russia in the foreseeable years. Okay. By Brian Struig, thank you so much. Is it from South Africa? Please remind me. Thank you. Appreciate your support. Andrew Sweetapple, sending little support from Devon and England. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. By the way, announcement of the stream tomorrow. I will try to tell you, well, I'll definitely tell you how Russian propaganda works. We'll pick it up piece by piece, and I will explain what they're doing and how it affects Russian people. So tomorrow should be another interesting message. Asa Groting, thank you so much. Sweden, right? I watch you every night. Today was 1 hour earlier. Realized that it was cause of Swedish time change. Super extra intense stream tonight. I learned so much. Thank you. Take care and see you soon. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think I'm gonna move 1 hour earlier for myself, so I start at midnight, not at 1 hour, not 1 a.m. because it's really hard physically to stream from 1 to 2. Instead, I'll be going to bed at 1, which is better actually. It gives me more time to sleep. So thanks for reminding me. I gotta discuss that with the mods tomorrow, not today, because I'm pretty tired. I'm gonna go straight to sleep after the stream. But it might be at the usual time of 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Sweden. I'm not sure what the difference between Tashkent. I think it's -4 hours, -3 hours. Brian, beautiful people here as always. Thank you. Dale, that sounds interesting. I'm just getting started, Dale. I have so many interesting topics, and I wanna show the insides of what's happening in Russia. I want you to know the truth, okay? Now I am just getting started. What if they food for weapons? Didn't really get it. They what? Food for weapons? Use food for weapons? I hope not. Yay, South Africa. Brian, thank you so much for good intentions. I appreciate it. These numbers give me a headache. Blackhead, thank you for telling me about this great channel. Thank you, Inside Russia. Well, thank you for coming, Ree, and thank you, Black Cat, for telling about this channel. Ferrari guy, what is the danger of a permanently frozen conflict in a hyper-militarized Ukraine that can never move forward in generation conflict? Possible. It's possible. It's possible. It would not be good. I hope not. But I think that here inside Russia, things are most crucial. People are not internal, People come and go. think 20 years in power. How long can you go for more? For another 20 years? Have you heard of anyone being in power for 40 years? Probably Fidel Castro, but that's exception. So people are not internal. Once one person goes, there will be major change. Overnight. I'm telling you. There's a Russian saying, Russians get ready very slowly, but once they start going, they go fast. So I think that's the case in this situation too. Zeus, what steps do you think Russian Federation would have to take for sanctions to end? Well, that's a good question. First of all Russian troops would need to withdraw to Russia. That's prerequisite for anything. Then there must be peace talks with Ukraine. There must be assurance that Russia would never repeat anything like that, and there must be conditions. And then it's going to take years, or perhaps generation, for sanctions to end. Well, some sanctions probably would end faster and some will stay for a long time. So I do not foresee the sanctions ending anytime soon. Russia has worked real hard to get itself in a situation where the sanctions are in place, that it's gonna work 10 times harder to get itself out of this situation. The globe is just pseudoscience. Earth is not a spinning ball lost in the vacuum of space. Be smart and test the globe. NASA lies. Well, Renee, thank you for the message. I'd have to check that. New York prepper. New York prepper. Is that the person I'm thinking who you are? Then the royalty is here. I really enjoy your channel. I watched it for so long, Thank you very much. You have been following me for months, but silent. Wow. I have Polish heritage and parents told me stories of life under Soviet control. Nightmare. Well, first of all, thank you so much. Let me just quickly check if... hang on. Yes, I saw your channel. With pretty cool, thumbnails. You're shooting at shooting range and stuff like that. So, great to see you. Thanks for the support, and moreover, thanks for watching. Look, my parents didn't really tell me stories about living under Soviet rule because I was born and raised, and first 16 years I lived, and I still remember the stories. I still remember my life, and it was a nightmare. Your parents are absolutely right. Yes. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. I'm a big fan. Mr. Scotch Pie, thank you so much for support. SD, it's a lottery. Understood. Dowell's Homestead, hello inside Russia. I pray things will settle down and an agreement can be agreed to. Me too. Every day, pray for that. SMB, Pretoria, Russia and China are authoritarian countries, never a recipe for economic success. But you see, Russia wasn't authoritarian in the 90s. Russia was okay until about 2007. And it was doing fine financially, There was so much of small and medium-sized business, so much business people here. Life was fantastic. And then things started happening. So I have hope that Russia can go back to being free. Gideon, yours. I read in history that Ukraine was number one oil producer in 1917. That could be, but let me tell you, after that, in the 60s, huge reserves were discovered in Siberia, in the Urals, and Russia became number one. So there's no question about it. It's not about oil in Ukraine. It's about something else. It's about craziness, you know. Lars is a sponsor for 3 months now. Thank you so much, Lars. Jamie Beard. The mods say time to pray, send in love and prayers, Ukrainian and Russia. The mods and your family. Thank you. Okay, go into prayer now. Rene, thanks for support. NASA never went to the moon. Just astronauts. You are Mother Russia. Well, thanks for the support. My friends, thank you so much. Like I said, it wasn't the easiest stream. It was, took quite a bit of research. I hope I delivered something valuable to you. I hope you found it informative. Thank you very much for giving me a chance. Thank you for coming today. Will be about how Russian propaganda works. Tomorrow's stream, please come back. Should be interesting. And now please join me in prayer. Thank you very much. It's time to refresh my list. Dear God, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables, roofs over our heads, and surrounding us with the loved ones and people we love, who love us. Thank you so much for keeping our kids healthy and safe. Please give us wisdom to raise them the way that when they grow up, they will make this world a better place. And they will never fight in any war. Thank you for that. Please help stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Reach out and touch people's hearts. You know which people better than I do. You know how to touch them, in what way better than I do. Please do that so they make decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help everyone who has been affected. Please help give people strength who has been affected in Ukraine. Please give people strength to go through this. Please give them recovery from whatever they're suffering or they've been hurt. Please give people who lost their loved ones, give them soothe their souls, talk to them, calm them down, just give them recovery. I don't know how to ask and what to ask for them. You know better how to help them. I'm asking merely for, please, dear God, help those people in Ukraine. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please send everyone who's been affected an angel, so the angels keep people from out of harm's way, so not one single drop of blood is shed anymore. Please help my country, Russia. Send an army of strongest angels with sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael, so they get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country and run it and make it shine again. Make it friendly, nice, and respected. Thank you for helping people who are helping Ukrainians, the misplaced ones, affected ones. Thank you for God bless people who are opening their hearts, their wallets, their homes, sending prayers, good wishes, and help to the people who have run away. Please help us all. We, all people in the world, we just need peaceful skies above us. Please help us not to be at war with each other anymore. We need peace pretty bad. Please help people who are traveling right now, send them help, and people who are running for their lives. Also, please send them help. Please help the pregnant women who are trying to decide whether to keep their babies or not. Reach out and talk to them so they make the right choice. And thank you so much for bringing us together into this community and having us pray and help everyone who is praying or watching us praying. Answer everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. I would like to mention a few people who need your help. They are Rafaela From, Priscilla Michelin, King Nero, Gaby Hyman, Martin, Joan, Donald, Alice and Dave Moyers. I found Waldo, Liz, Deborah, Isabel Ligo, Janice Burgess, Maureen M. and her sister, Golden Griffon, Geeky's granddad, Terry Carter, Bruce B., Kayleen, Terry Scrugg, Thomas, Tony, Bob, Jessica, Minutes to Midnight, Sandra Workman and her husband Rod, Mr. Hansen, Heidi Howitz, Robert Morgan's sister, Jacob, Umel and Jennifer, Bruce's friend Andrea, Rob, Ian, Ashley and family, Angelic Cat Life, Florian G, Cosmision, Matt from Canada, Mr. Dean Spooner and his church called Our Savior Lutheran Church, User Cancer Survivor, Lisa Kumrian, Adam Oliver, Barry Reading, sister, Leslie Fleming, Michael Milkevitz, Elena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Galina, and Igor, Buzz, Paula, Janine, Narnian Lady, Marlene, Susan S., Fiona, Madeline, Stephen, L. and Freddie, Sabrina, Paul Binz, Bridges' father, family of Rudy Kaisley, Richard, Mallory M., Dirk Misler and his father, James Rhodes, Brittany S., Jess Terry, Lars Henrik, wait for it, Lane Hankins, Bridget Apley, Hannah and her kids, May Scott Nesbitt, sister, rest in peace, Richard Burris, James Rhodes, Ace, Scan's family grandson, Grace, Barb, Vladimir Istomin, SC2216 and daughter Lori, China Bill, Brian McManus, Verlinda Ellen Sneeze, who's suffering from addiction, Doug, Steve's brother who's buying a house, needs help. And I would like to ask for help for 3 special children. They are Coulter, Maverick, and Sebastian. They also need your help very much. Thank you, dear God, Jesus Christ, amen. Thank you, my friends. Thank you very much for coming and giving me a chance to deliver some information, and thank you for praying with me. I will see you tomorrow. There will be a message about Russia propaganda and how it works. Before I sign off, Carthago delenda est.